Hey guys, welcome back to another foundation road test. This one is looking at Revlon Colorstay in the combination oily formula. Revlon has recently reformulated their Colorstay line, and it seems like people who liked Colorstay before aren't really liking it as much, and people who didn't like it before seem to like it more now. And I am in that last group. I didn't really like Colorstay before. I found it kind of cakey on my skin. So when I found out they reformulated it, I decided to pick up a bottle and see what the deal was. What I do like is that there is a pump in this one, and before it was a pour bottle, and I am really digging the pump. So I am first of all going to tell you guys that this foundation road test is completely out of whack. I have been having some sound issues, and I am re-recording my intro that I recorded this morning. It has now been about almost 8 hours since I first put on this foundation. So this is going to serve as my intro and my midday check-in for this foundation. So it's a little off. And you know, you just got to do what you got to do. I am going to go ahead and just read you guys the description. This says, America's #1 foundation, now with a mess-free pump and SPF protection. There are 35 shades for every skin tone and type. It has flawless matte coverage that lasts up to 24 hours. Comfortable, lightweight formula specifically made for combination or oily skin to control oil absorption and shine. The combination oily formula has 22 beautiful long-wearing shades. It's buildable to full coverage, contains salicylic acid to balance skin over time, is oil-free, and has SPF 15. So I picked up the shade Buff, number 150, and you will see in the application that it is not my shade. I have various shades of foundation that I wear in different brands. I have them listed below in the description box. If you guys wear any of my shades of foundations, do not pick up Buff in Revlon Colorstay. It will be way too light for you. You will see it almost looks like I am wearing a mask of white in the application part of this video. I was able to work with it a little bit to help darken it up with some bronzer and some blush. I mean, I think I did somewhat okay, but this is not really about the color match. It's about the wear during the day. So we're moving on. Like I said, it has been almost 8 hours, and I'm just giving my check-in midday thoughts like I would normally do after the application part of the video. I'm really quite surprised that I like this foundation as much as I do. I feel like it looks really good. I touched up around hour 4 with translucent powder. I was feeling a little bit shiny, not greasy, just shiny in certain spots. Not really so much my forehead at all, just kind of right here and just on my nose. I wasn't shiny anywhere else. And I don't feel like I've looked cakey or powdery or dry either. So I'm impressed so far. I feel like my overall makeup has looked really nice all day long. Again, I mean, we're going on 8 hours and I've touched up one time. So if there is a color match in this, that's a good amount of time for me. I'm going to do an end of the day check-in today as well, but hey, I'm impressed so far. So let's move on to the application. As in all of my foundation road tests, I used the Beauty Blender on this side and a foundation brush on this side. And to save time, I did apply my primer before I started filming, just a pea size of my Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer, and we can get to the application. And there's the glass bottle. It's a nice bottle, and I like that they did put a pump into it, and it's light, as you will see, and I already told you. And there's that pump. Love it. And we'll just squeeze a little bit out onto my hand and see how light this looks. It's pretty light, and you can see it's pretty runny for a medium to full coverage foundation. And I'm just going to get a little bit onto the Beauty Blender and start blending it in to my forehead, and I'm going to work in sections and just kind of see how it works as far as blending goes. and I'll just do the forehead and blend down onto my nose and cheek. And I think it's about now when I start realizing exactly how light it is on my skin. I did think that it blended in pretty nicely and easily though, as far as a medium to full coverage foundation goes, and it's covering pretty well. Of course you can see I'm ghost face, but yeah, it is pretty funny. And I'm just covering up a little bit of redness, seeing how it builds, and it builds pretty well. And you can see there's redness on the side without foundation, and of course a lifelike color on that side that I will cover up with the white foundation, and go into town with the foundation brush now and getting it all blended in. And it's taken a little bit more work with the brush than it did with the sponge, so that part I did not like as much. I wasn't sure how it was going to work with the brush. You never know if it's going to work as well, but yeah, it's taken a little bit more work here to get it nice and seamless with the brush, and it needed to be nice and seamless, especially since the color match was way off. And just working it in, getting it into that hairline, and you can see, yeah, no, not a match. We'll just work with it. I feel much happier with the Beauty Blender side than I do the foundation brush side. I feel like it blended easier into the skin and it just looked better. I just felt like the brush side just kind of looked, I don't know, just more obvious to me. But you know, here again, this is being refilmed because of the sound issues, and it has been 8 hours. But you know, I feel like we're looking good. This is the Beauty Blender side, and it's still just very melded in with the skin. When I look in a close-up mirror, I see some issues here and some issues here and kind of down here that I do not see at all on this side. There's no cakiness. I don't feel it on my skin. It doesn't feel heavy or greasy or dry. For a long-wearing foundation, I am impressed, and from the drugstore. So if there is a good color match, this could be a good option, again, with a Beauty Blender. So I'll check in at the end of the day, but those are my thoughts so far. Since I didn't get to do a midday check-in on the first day that I actually did the road test, I wanted to just do one on a random day since I've been wearing it all week long. So this is it, about 7 hours after application and one light touch-up, and that's it. It looks pretty good. It's pretty full coverage, and I'll go into that at the end of the video update, but it looks good. Pretty full coverage. So that's it, quick and to the point today, because I don't want this video to end up being super long. I'll see you later. Hey guys, I am back to do my end of day check-in as well as my end of week check-in all in one. I did film an end of day check-in at the end of the first day, like I said at the beginning of the video, but something happened with that video. I don't know what's wrong with this foundation road test. I'm usually more together. If this is your first time watching with me, please go watch another one. This one is not typical. Actually, it may have worked out better because I needed to do an end of the week update for you guys to see how this was wearing with my skin, and this way you could just see how it looked at the end of a day. It has been 11.5 hours, and I know I'm in my horrible bathroom lighting, which sometimes happens at the end of a day. I operate off of natural light when I am doing my makeup, and usually during the day with you guys. And at the end of the day, I just have to use my bathroom lights because I don't have a nice ring light or anything like that yet. And I don't know if you can tell in this light, but it looks good. My makeup still looks really good. I did go get a better color match for me. I just could not take wearing that pale ghost buff shade anymore, and I went and got shade 240 medium beige. I did a little bit more research because apparently the first research that I did was no good. While I think it's a little bit better of a match, I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's about as good as I'm gonna get. They just don't have a lot of warm gold yellow tones for Colorstay foundation, even though there's 22 shades in the combination oily range. There's just not a lot of warm tones. That could be an issue if you're like me and you need a more golden toned foundation. Each day that I wore the foundation, I used my damp beauty blender. I pumped 2 pumps out like I did in the demo earlier, and I only ended up using half, like you'll see here. And even with that amount, I would dab a little bit on to the beauty blender and apply on my forehead, dab again, and do a cheek. And I only needed leftover for this whole middle of my face area, and I still got phenomenal coverage. You know, they claim 24-hour wear, and it very well may give you 24 hours. There was a day where I had it on for 16 hours, but each day was around 12 to 14 hours, and it looked great all day long. My makeup looked flawless. Nothing broke down anywhere. I only had to touch up twice a day each day, and I use have to loosely. I mean, just barely a little shine, a little bit of a blot. I mean, I used translucent powder just for insurance purposes, just to make sure it would stave off the shine longer, but I don't even think I needed to. It's almost too flawless for me, and I don't know if that's gonna make any sense to anyone on earth but me. I am more of a light, medium, buildable coverage girl, and I don't mind a medium full coverage as long as it's buildable and it doesn't always end up full coverage. I felt like no matter how light I went, it ended up pretty full coverage. I mean, I barely used any, like you saw earlier with what was left on my hand, and I still ended up pretty full coverage all week long, especially when you dot any concealer anywhere you need it. So I don't know if that's just really me. I kind of felt like I had, it didn't look cakey, but I just felt like I looked like I was wearing makeup all week, which I know we all look like we're wearing makeup, but it just looked more makeup-y than I like to look. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but as far as testing it all week long and how my skin did with it, my skin did not react badly at all with the SPF, which sometimes can happen. It didn't get dry around here where I thought it might because of the salicylic acid. Actually, I had a couple little bumps going on over here from something I've been trying out, I guess, and it completely cleared that up. Am I gonna rank it with my Estee Lauder Double Wear? No, because of the lack of warm tones, and also I feel like I still get some of my natural skin showing through with the Estee Lauder Double Wear, even though I get that fuller / medium coverage. Some of that might be because I didn't get a good match, which I really can't. Not to say I would never wear this. I don't know, maybe mixing them would be an option for me so that this wouldn't go to waste. I don't know. But if you are someone who is more neutral or cool toned and you're looking for a good drugstore foundation that will control oil beautifully and last from morning until nighttime, Revlon Colorstay in the combination oily formula could be a great option for you. It's $12.99 at the drugstore, completely affordable, and I think you should check it out, at least give it a try. So those are my thoughts on Revlon Colorstay, and I hope that this chaotic foundation road test was helpful for someone. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you did so today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.